Alright, wanted to do a quick video on Forward Controls Keymo devices. They're different mounts for the Dead Air line of suppressors. I started out with this, the 6315, kind of an improved A2 design. Worked great, locked up solid with the Sandman. You can see carbon from use, it held up really well. I decided to switch out to the 1215 single chamber brake, hopefully to mitigate baffle erosion on my blast baffle, since I'm running this on a Mark 18 upper. In just probably less than 1,000 rounds running this 5.56, I am starting to get a decent amount of erosion and wear in the blast baffle, but you know, it is what it is. It's nothing catastrophic. I'm not too worried about it. But this was a step to mitigate further damage. But the Forward Controls mounts are solid. They are well made. You know, machining looks great. So, you know, if you're trying to decide between a, name brand Dead Air mount versus something like this, I know there's the Sons of Liberty, like the Knox, and a couple other companies that make Keymo mounts. So there's not a ton of information about these out there, but I wanted to share my experience, and they have been absolutely great. And while doing this, I just kind of got this Mark 18 upper not too long ago, and one thing you run into with any of like a Dead Air, Surefire mount is how thin the 3/4 inch wrench flats are. And with the wrist 2 on the Mark 18, there's very little room. So when I first installed this one, I had to take the rail off, which, whatever, it's fine, but it can be a pain in the ass to take off and put back on. So digging around Amazon, I found this, a thin, box end wrench, 3/4, 5/8, and it was super cheap. It was like $10, but it is perfect size to install or remove any kind. Like, this would work with a Surefire, any of their devices as well, without having to take the wrist 2 off the Mark 18. And yeah, this came in really handy when I switched these two out the other day. But yeah, Amazon was like $10, and I don't remember, I think it called it like a thin wrench or super thin or whatever. Now obviously there's no provision for a torque wrench or whatever, but after doing this many times, installing muzzle devices that have to be timed or whatever, I kind of a feel for how far I need to go with shims and how far off it needs to be for me to be able to kind of torque it in alignment without going crazy on the torque. 25, 30 foot-pounds is what they recommend. And if you're doing any more than that by hand, even with a wrench without a torque wrench attached, you're really putting some effort into it. So I don't worry too much about not torquing it to spec. Sometimes I've got 3/4 inch wrench that I'll do that with, if I'm not worried about the thin wrench flats with muzzle devices that have to interface with the suppressor. Like a standard A2, yeah, use your armor wrench, what have you. But yeah, this came out really nice. These again, Forward Controls, the 1215 single chamber is what's on there now. The 6315 is what I took off. I'll probably either put that on something else or just get rid of it. I've got some other Dead Air devices running on most of my other stuff, but yeah, it locks up pretty well. It's not going anywhere, and hopefully that single chamber will save the blast baffle. So that's pretty much it, guys, and yeah, no worries buying the forward control stuff. Works out really well.